Hey everybody, welcome back to Leaders Chat Live. My name is Tracy Turnberg and I'm super excited to have today's guest on. She is a powerhouse in this industry, and as far as I'm concerned, she's one of the most she's one of the most revered people, female leaders that we have in this entire industry. And she was actually awarded or voted or whatever the Female Entrepreneur of the Year recently. So her power, her knowledge, her base is just fantastic. We are going to learn a ton from her. Before we get to our guest today, what I want you to do, two things. If you want to type chat into the comments, you will be added to our messenger bot that will let you know when we go live. Also, make sure you like us here on Facebook, follow Leaders Chat Live so you don't miss a single show. So, without further ado, today's guest is a good friend of mine. Her name is Mrs. Valencia Pamphile, and she is absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to have a chat. V, are you there?
I am. How are you, Tracy?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me on Leaders Chat.
Hey, thank you. And I feel privileged to be a first female guest. I'm so excited about
it. Check. You can put that on your resume now. Female Entrepreneur of the Year and first female guest on Leaders Chat Live. They're the same thing.
Yeah, it's just good to be out here. And I love having conversations with you just in general. So I'm excited.
That's great. I got some good stuff in store. I think your story is going to really resonate with people out there in the industry. People are looking for an answer, a plan B, a side hustle to start their own business. And I think there's our short little chat this morning before we got on here. Man, I know I learned something I think was really valuable, and I can't wait to get to that topic. But before we do that, I definitely want to encourage people that are watching and joining us is to make comments, get in there, and just start sharing what your questions help us drive this conversation in a way that is just going to make it better for everybody. So, with that. How did you get started? Well, first of all, where are you from? Where did you grow up? Where do you live now?
Well, I am a proud New Yorker.
Oh.
I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I don't live there now, but I still claim when people say, where are you from or where do you live? I say I'm a New Yorker. I currently live in Delaware, and I've been in Delaware long enough to call it home, but I'm still a New Yorker. So I've been in Delaware for, almost 30 years. Not quite, maybe about 25 years. But born and raised, Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in public housing. I loved growing up in New York City. I had no regrets or anything, but I moved with my company when they relocated down to Delaware. I used to work in the banking industry, and they relocated down to Delaware, and that's how I ended up in this small state.
So V, how did you, when you first got exposed to the industry, what was that like? I mean, where were you at in your life? What made you look, or did you ignore it right away? Or, talk to us about that. What did you do?
Well, my first exposure to the industry goes even before I got involved in the industry. I had relatives who were in the industry, and I did not look favorably upon them. So needless to say, I didn't look favorably upon the industry.
Yeah.
And I made all of my decisions about not doing it based on that. Occasionally, I would just sign up to get them off my back, but I never honestly made any intent to work the business. I would buy something or, just to be helpful. I come from a very supportive family. So if they asked me to do something, I did it. But for me, definitely would never get involved in this industry. And so I can relate to people who base their whole opinion on what someone else did, because that's what I did.
Yeah.
But to bring the story forward, I got seriously involved in the industry when my life changed. And I think that's what everybody has to appreciate. You have to be in a position to see it for yourself. And when my life changed and I needed to do something different, that's when I took a second look. That's number one. And then the second thing, having success in front of me, just like you. You had a relative who was extremely successful in the industry. I had the same relative who finally found his niche and he became a multimillionaire, and it just seemed so simple. So I listened to him. And just to give everybody, this is the backdrop. I was in a position where I needed, and that's a key word, I needed to do something different. I was living in Delaware, so excited. I came, down with the company. I worked for JP Morgan, and they said, hey, move to Delaware. I moved to Delaware. I bought a home, comfortable. 3 months after moving to Delaware, JP Morgan sold the division of the company that I worked for back to a company in New York City. So that put me in a position where I had to commute to work, and not just commute. I was commuting 3 hours to work and 3 hours back home every single day. And the bad part of the story is both my husband and I met him at the bank. Both of us were in the same situation. So I can't even really complain about the commute for about a year because my husband drove back and forth every day. I sat in the back seat. I should say I laid down in the back seat with a pillow. But he came home one day and said, I'm not doing it anymore. He found a different job down here in Delaware, but the income was less than half of what we were making in New York. So I said, okay, I'll keep commuting. And then I commuted via Amtrak. Now, just to give you perspective, that's 6 hours of your day. I worked 8 to 10 hours a day. I had no life. And so when, my relative came to me and said, my uncle came to me and said, Valencia, I found a way you can get your life back. At that point, I was listening. And so I decided to embark upon that whole situation or to move into the industry because I needed a change. And to see that he had made it, I knew, I won't say he's not any sharper than me because he's very sharp, but I knew that if he did it and he believed that I could do it, I knew I could do the same thing. And that's when I got really serious about the industry.
Yeah, your story is, I guess all successful industry stories kind of start the same way. It's like timing was so key.
Absolutely.
And, if you're watching today and you're wondering why, somebody doesn't see it right away, that doesn't mean it's a no. It just means it's a no for right now. Don't ever take them off your list. Circle back in a month, 6 months, a year, whatever. Because my story is not unlike yours. I was in college. I was much younger when I started this industry. And so my uncle was one of the industry greats, was basically showing me checks and telling me that, oh, you could do this. And I was going to school to be a chiropractor. That was my goal. I wanted to be a chiropractor, and I was doing my undergrad, doing all my stuff, and I knew that I could help people's health by doing that. But then I started to find all these chiropractors that were coming into the industry, into our company, and they're like, they were where I wanted to be, and they wanted to come where I was at. And I'm like, exactly. Something's wrong here. I mean, like, you're what I want to be, and you are going to be, just this amazing thing. So anyways, I started, and it was just, it was the best decision of my life. It wasn't easy because I was young. I was skeptical, but I was also like super optimistic about it. And that kind of hung with me for probably the first 7 or 8 years of my industry. I wasn't overly successful because I never truly believed what I was doing was right, because it wasn't the right company for me.
Exactly.
And it was a great company and all kinds of stuff, but for me, it just wasn't a fit. And it took some time. But when I found that fit, when that moment hit, and I found that reason to run, man, I tell you what, the belief level picked up, and all the obstacles I was making for myself, I eliminated.
Exactly.
Because
I was in the same situation. I got started in the industry, but I didn't get started. Meaning, I signed up and I was getting, minimal checks, but it was something. And, we all have these little unique turning points. Now, even though I had 2 very successful uncles in the industry, they had made multi-millions, it wasn't my dream to be a millionaire. I just wanted to get my time back.
Right.
So I had a different why than they did. But I'll tell you what kickstarted me. I had, as with all these companies, I had a friend who joined me. And my friend decided to take off. And I looked back and I was like, wow, I can't believe she's doing it and I'm not. And sometimes you have to find your own belief cycle.
Yeah.
She created belief for me. The fact that she did it and she started hitting a corporate position and I'm sitting back and I'm watching all the accolades and I'm thinking I'm in the same business. That triggered me to say, let me go to work. And you know, we all have to find our even though I had a need, it didn't mean I had the belief to go out in this industry and make it happen for myself. There is a major shift, a big switch that goes on when you believe you can. And that belief cycle, I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but you know, when you believe, you take action. When you take action, you get results, which fire your belief. If you don't believe, you never take action. So even though I signed up, I didn't believe I was going to be that success story. So, you know, the industry in and of itself, it works. Yeah. But it only works for people who believe it works for them. And that's the part that a lot of people don't seem to get. And they blame the industry, but right. A lot of times it's us. It's the way we believe.
Yeah. You know, my mentor, Dale, used to say, he'd ask people a question. He goes, when did you, people say, oh, I signed up on this day. And he goes, it doesn't matter when you sign up. It's not when you get in to your business. It's when your business gets into you.
Absolutely.
That's your launch day. And that could be a day, a week, an hour. It could be a month or a year. But when that business gets into you, and you get that burn and that desire, man, I tell you what, the sky is the limit to what you can accomplish. Because that's what I love about this industry. Whether you're a banker or you're a plumber or you're unemployed or you're a stay-at-home parent or you're an accountant, it doesn't matter your education level. This industry provides a level playing field for everyone to be successful.
Exactly, and we all have our paradigms. A lot of us just have paradigms that. I think I'll never forget this. Somebody said to me, it's a broke man's franchise. I would never compare it to that, but that was the paradigm that he had, that only people in desperate need work for something like this or get involved in this industry. And I had to shift my paradigm that, like you said, chiropractors and doctors and attorneys were gravitating to this industry. And a lot of people would say, why would they come here? That shifted my paradigm. I knew several dentists who got involved in this industry and did very, very well. And it shifted a paradigm for me. I had to accept that this was a viable way to make income. And it was no less accepted by, it really didn't matter how other people felt. I started to develop a healthy respect that I was in business just like any other business person. And when I made that transition mentally, it changed the way I operated. I started to work it just like a business, not just as some side hustle, as a lot of people think it is. So
right.
It's been very rewarding.
Yeah, and that's this industry will totally surprise you with what you can accomplish and the experiences you can have, the friends you meet, the relationships, the personal growth that you gain is just, I don't know where else you can gain the personal growth in a traditional industry, in a traditional job, corporate America. This industry forces you, it doesn't force you, you want to develop yourself and be a better person, whether it's personal skills and talking to people, or if it's, learning the psychology of things, or just your inner belief systems. This industry, I think, magnifies that in a way that nothing else really can.
There was an expression that they used to say, this industry is a personal development course with a compensation plan. Yeah, and I sincerely believe that the personal growth you go through will carry you in life. There was a gentleman, not in my business today, but at one point I talked to him and he had made absolutely no money. I mean, he probably had never even made what it cost him to get started back. But he told me he would never leave because it made him a better man. Now, at the time, I couldn't relate to, that seems kind of crazy. I'm in it to make money. But I understood it because the people I've been exposed to, I'd probably, in all sincerity, Tracy, and maybe I shouldn't say this live, but I probably had never read a John Maxwell book until I got in this industry. And now I've read them all. Yeah. Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, like some of these people, I wasn't exposed to them in corporate America.
Right.
But I came here and I started to learn. And it pains me when I meet people who don't value personal growth. We have this mentality that you go to school until 18, you graduate and you go for another 4 years, maybe another 2, and then you're done learning.
Yeah.
And when you're in this industry, you're never done learning. You're always growing and realizing the power of the human being. The potential is so much greater than any of us ever tap into. And you start to realize that through the personal development. And I'm a guru for personal development. I actually do personal development courses outside of just, my business, because I value changing the mentality of the younger generation and just having that mindset of just because this is what everybody did doesn't mean I have to do it this way. I can change my paradigms and do something completely different. So you're right. By the way, you had an outstanding mentor. I would sit and talk to him and first of all, he took learning and made it fun. And so I value when you have people like that, forget the personal development, the relationships, the people you get to call friend in this industry is huge. So kudos to you, man. I know you value it, but I just wanted to pay respect to Dale because he was an outstanding gentleman in this industry.
Thank you. He's my hero, and I miss him every day. He passed away almost 4 years ago now, and there's not a day go by that I don't look at his book or speak his name. I think if we all in this industry strived, not as a goal, but strive to leave an impression upon somebody to the level that he left on me. And he didn't try to do that. I mean, it's just his actions,
right?
Just created this. I can't even put it into words. If we, I'm getting.
I know you get emotional because it's real. I can feel you.
Yeah. So
it's a good thing to have somebody that you revere like that, and he deserved it. Yeah. So I mean, I understand.
But as leaders, we should all be like, by our actions, our daily actions, of what we do and how we do it and how we look for people and help people. We don't know who it's going to be, but at the end of the day, we should try to be that to somebody.
Absolutely.
And you don't handpick the person and say, I'm going to be your hero. That doesn't work that way. It's like, I'm going to be the best version of myself. I'm going to try to get the best out of everybody. And hopefully 1 or 100 or whatever will look at me and say, man, that guy changed my life. Mm-hmm. And Dale changed my life on so many levels because he introduced me to this industry. And we've been in this for, how long have you been in the industry now?
Oh man, you want me to date myself, Tracy? Probably a little more than 20 years.
Okay, so a little more than 20 years. It hasn't always been easy, right? There's been days where you're like, I don't want to be a part of it. It's just, this isn't for me. And maybe it's an hour, maybe it's a week, whatever. But having that mentor and having that leadership, which is why leaders are so important, because leaders, they understand, they've been through it, and they can help you navigate those bad days. To say, listen, Valencia, I know today's a bad day, but tomorrow will be better.
Right.
Right. One of the tricks that I like to use, if I have a bad call, if I get some bad news, something happens, I have a set of 4 or 5 people that I can call, because I know when I call them, they're going to pick me up.
Right.
They're going to be my my energy. They're going to recharge my batteries like instantly. If you don't call those people, you think and you overthink, and then you get more negative, and then self-doubt and all that vicious cycle can happen. And so I always like to call people that I know that are positive, that I know that listen, I know this is the way it works. It'll be okay. Just keep at it. And get back on track, because even leaders have bad days. And I think,
absolutely.
I think this industry thinks people, well, man, Valencia has never had a bad day in her life in network marketing.
No, you know what? We're human. We feel what other people feel. Here's what I think is the difference. We don't dwell. We don't stay there. We have moments where we even feel sorry for ourselves, but then we know how, because of personal development, we pick ourselves up. And I always tell people, I give you 10 minutes for the pity party, and then what are we going to do next? Because life is short.
Right.
And the longer you live it, the shorter it gets. So you don't have time to sit in this negative space. And like you, I had great mentors in this industry, and I strive to be that for someone else. Now, one of my mentors, they're both my uncles, both multimillionaires, love them to death. One of them has since passed. One of them was super fun. Everything was all about let's have a great time. And he made a lot of, the other one was so business oriented and hardcore. He didn't tolerate the nonsense. So I got it from both sides, and I appreciate it. The one that was super fun, he would always say when I was having a bad day, he would go TTSP. And I would say, what? TTSP. This too shall pass. And I live it. Now when somebody comes to me, I tell them the same thing. TTSP. This too shall pass. There will be a time where you feel good again. How quickly you get to that really is up to you. You're still human. You're allowed. But my other mentor would say, chop, chop, let's get it done.
Yeah.
And the value, by the way, some people couldn't tolerate his style, but people who could tolerate it will tell you to this day, probably one of the best mentors they could have, because he didn't have time. He didn't have time to get in the trenches with you. But I value mentorship, and like you, I really strive. I wake up and say, am I doing what I can for my team? Not just teaching them the business, but am I loving them? And I work on that because life is busy. I have a family, I have people around, but my team, I have to love them through this industry too, because I was loved through it. And that's sincere. Am I really making them understand I care about their success, not just about my success, but their success? And Zig Ziglar said that if you help other people, you always get what you want. And so I work on that to this day. I've developed and I'm training my personality to care. And that's even my hashtag. I care because I really want to care about people.
People tend to think that, just go out and get what you want. The quickest way in this industry to get what you want is help others towards their dreams and goals.
Absolutely.
And when you do that, I mean, number one, that loyalty and effort and hard days become easy and all those things, you're going to achieve more as a team than you ever could by yourself. And, a lot of people like to focus, I'm going to hit this pin title. And, that's never really been a goal of mine. Mine has always been like, how do I help somebody else? And knowing that helping them is going to elevate myself at the same time. But by putting efforts into them, you're developing a leader, you're developing residual income, you're developing long-term success, not just chasing a pin title for a month that the next month you can't maintain.
Exactly.
And so, like you say, like Zig Ziglar, care about people. And I tell you what, your business will thrive in a way that you cannot even imagine.
Right.
So
right. I agree 100%. And I think all leaders feel that way. And if you don't, let any leader who says that's not true, your success will be short-lived.
Yeah.
Eventually, people will feel that and they'll go and do their own thing. Loyalty in this industry is hard to find. And when you're a caring leader, your team they're stuck on you like glue. And that's what you want. You want to care about your team. And not just your team, care about your company, care about your industry. Everything you do is a reflection on all of that. So leaders have a lot to work on.
Yeah.
And when they get it right, the value is there, but by far.
Yeah, if you watch any successful story, any successful business story, for sure, has a story of a successful leader getting to a certain point and then elevating it. So even I don't know if you're watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan.
I am. Well, you know me. I'm a basketball. Well, I'm a sports fanatic, and we won't get into it because you tease me too much. But in either case, I am watching it.
So all right. Sidebar: Game 7, LeBron James, right? Or the only time you get to watch episode 9, 10 of the Last Dance, you going to watch the LeBron James Game 7, or are you going to watch The Last Dance?
I take the 5th.
Yeah, you're going to watch The Last Dance, aren't you?
Absolutely. It's been an amazing show, and I suggest every leader watch it.
Yeah.
Because the way, each show, well, first of all, let me say this, Tracy. When you get in this industry, you can't watch a movie, you can't watch a TV show where you don't pick something out that you want your whole team to see. I watch movies and I'll call my niece who she laughs at me. I'll turn everything into a business and she'll say, so that's going to be on your team call next week. I'm like, yeah, because that's what I got from the movie.
Yeah.
But The Last Dance, when I watched the determination he had,
Yeah.
and then we were talking about teamwork and caring. When he made that transition to not having to have the ball and being willing to give it up to Scottie Pippen, and there's just so much you can learn about becoming a team player and still being a leader.
Yeah.
I think everybody should watch the show.
Yeah. And sometimes in our, that was going to be my point. You stole my thunder, V. So, but in this industry, sometimes you think, okay, I want to be the front of the room. I want to be the all it person. But that doesn't build your strongest business. Your strongest business is really created when you can elevate leaders that get to go out and be more of the show and be more of the business. That's how you develop strength within your organization. You don't develop strength in your organization by being the person that's the end all be all. Everybody's got to go to you. When you develop your leaders and they come up and you can watch them pass you. You can watch them, do a better presentation on a product or a better presentation on a training aspect, right? Because they live that. They're an expert in that arena. Why would you not want to exploit that?
Exactly. Like on my team, we have people in the medical field. Just hearing their voice, just their credentials, when you utilize them on your team, it gives the team more power. So you're right. It's not about you. Sometimes, and I know this is an age-old question in it and really going in a different subject, sometimes leaders are hard to find. Some people just don't want to do those things. And so you find yourself always doing. But at some point, you do have to say, hey, I know you have the ability. I know you don't want to do it anyway.
Right.
At the end of the day, I didn't want to either. I didn't want to do presentation. Tracy, people look at me now and they say, oh, Valencia is an extrovert and she loves, and if I had to class myself, and we argue about this among people, I would say I'm an introvert who learned to do extroverted things. Yeah. And I say that sincerely because I didn't ever see myself standing in front of a room doing presentations, but it's what it took to build my business. So I did it.
100%.
I'm not super friendly, but I've learned that that's what it takes. I'm being honest. I growing up in high school, I wasn't that girl that was always, just had all the friends and what have you. But I've learned, and I'm saying this for everybody listening, it's not who you are. It's who you want to be. Yeah. And never get stuck in, well, that's just the way I am. To me, that doesn't even matter. That's maybe what you are today. But if you want to change, you can. And I'm living proof that an introvert can do extroverted things. Right. So if my partner was listening to this, he'd say, I can't believe she said that, because he's known me as an extrovert. But I know who I am at the core. And it's just sidebar. But I'm saying that because there are people on the line who have leadership ability and they're stuck in their paradigm of I'm not a leader. Yeah. Yes, you are the day you decide you want to be.
Yeah. It's nobody puts baby in a corner kind of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And, I got a really good buddy he's a motivational, inspirational speaker. And he does a lot of school assemblies. He really connects with youth, does a lot of corporate gigs. And he's probably the most introverted person I know. But he's the most out of the zany. He's just crazy, like in front of a crowd. Mm-hmm. But he's so introverted, and he'll tell you, I'm an introvert. I don't even know how I'm successful at what I do, but he's got this ability. And I hope to get him on Leaders Chat someday to really pick his brain. But the ability for people you got to get out of your comfort zone. You do. I mean, you don't have to leap out of it. You don't have to, jump into the deep end today per se, if it's, whatever. But you do have to get out of your comfort zone and grow as a person, because personal growth is going to happen before financial growth in this industry.
Absolutely. And you have to, let me say this to everybody listening. Sometimes you have to pay for personal growth. It costs money. That has nothing to do with the industry. Yeah. Just growing. I did a personal growth seminar, and was thousands of dollars, but it was life-changing. One of the things we had to do was go out into the redwood forest, redwood in California, and they had these tremendous, just think of a wood telephone pole. We had to climb to the top and stand on this little, you guys know what a telephone pole looks like. I had to stand on top of it. And prior to going, they taught us how to ground and center, how to just center your body. And when I got to the top of the tree was just shaking like nonstop. Of course, I was harnessed in. And I had to close my eyes and ground and center. And the tree stabilized. And it was such a metaphor for me. I have pictures. I still don't believe. I don't know that I would ever do this again, but I did it at the time. But it showed me the importance of getting out of your comfort zone. A lot of us, we don't even know we're in it. It's just how we live. We live in this box. And I talk to people sometime and they'll tell me the story and we'll do this. And they'll say, oh, because they live in this box. And the box is not where you want to live. You want to go outside of the box because there's a whole nother world and a bigger box. And then you have to go outside of that box.
Right.
But those are the things that make you grow. And you start to realize, wow, I am all that. And that's not just me. This is any leader will tell you the exact same thing. It happened.
Yeah. You know, when you said climbing up the pole, you know, were you scared to do that?
I was terrified.
But you were harnessed in, right? Was there any chance of you getting hurt?
Still terrified.
But isn't that weird? Like when you said that, I'm like, okay, I'm harnessed in, I'm safe. I would just shimmy up the pole. I wouldn't have an issue. But I don't have a big fear of heights, especially when I know that I'm safe, you know, when I'm safely harnessed in. But other people, like in this industry, like you have to get up to present. Man, when they feel they don't have a safety net, that's a scary thing. And as leaders, we have to be able to say, listen, I'm here. I'm your safety net. I've got your back. You're going to present, and you know we'll pick up the pieces if it's we'll work on it to make it better. And so, as leaders, we are that harness, that safety net as you go up that telephone pole, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Were you doing like the Mr. Miyagi crane thing, or at the top?
No, well, we had to get to the top of the pole, and then there was a swing, and we had to jump from the pole to catch the swing. Now, if you missed the swing, you were going to just dangle and come down. But my fear. When I tell you fear is real, and it is such I can feel it all over again. I caught the swing by accident. I know because I closed my eyes, but I was just so intent on not falling. And they have a picture of me catching the swing. I still don't know how I did it.
Hey, can I Google this? Is this video out there? Can I Google this video or no? Because I want to see this.
I have it on video. But it was just one of the many things I've done to prove to myself that I have more power beyond what the normal is. All of us do.
Yeah.
And again, for anybody watching and who wants to grow, just realize that we all are made by the same, hopefully, whatever people believe. I don't want to get religious, but we have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 legs. I mean, we have the same abilities.
Right.
The things that differ in people is what they've worked on.
Yeah.
And so if one person can do it, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I'm big on affirmations. Tell yourself, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's not being cocky.
No.
That's being realistic about the power that you have.
It's just being confident too, isn't it? It's just understanding, like, you know, Michael Jordan is he in the Last Dance. He said, listen, everyone's got talent, but a lot of people don't have hard work. Yep. And hard work will flourish talent, and it'll expose it, and it'll cover up a missing skill too. I mean, if you work hard, you can develop that. Are some people just naturally, charismatic? They can remember facts and figures, and they're just really good at. Yeah, I mean, they have that ability. It doesn't mean that you can't gain that and you can't get there. And I think people think, that came really easy for Valencia. She is so, XYZ. They don't know that. No, it was just as hard for her as it would be for you. You're vilifying Valencia in a mindset of saying that was easy for her. That's the reason I'm going to not be successful. Right. And if you ever read the book Leadership and Self-Deception by the Arbinger Institute, it talks about this, how we have this feeling of that we should honor. And it doesn't matter what it is. We make thousands of decisions every day. This feeling that we should honor this decision. And we're good people. I mean, at the core, you and I are good people. But we say, I don't want to do that because, that was easy for Valencia to do that. That was easy for Tracy. That was easy. I don't have the time that they have. I don't have the resources that they have. I don't have, blah, 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 blah. And all they're doing is trying to justify why they're not taking those action steps themselves.
Exactly.
And I think that's the biggest thing. And I know you're living your year this year I think it would be best summed up by execute, right? Would that be a good word?
My word.
to execute or to describe your year. How does that look like in your daily life? How do you implement execute into your daily life?
Okay. Well, again, in one of my personal development books, they said, find your word for the year. And my word was execute, because I am full of ideas. And very often I go to the next year full of ideas. Right. And the reason I don't carry out my idea is because I don't get it perfect. And I believe that perfection is actually a block to moving. Like, none of us are going to get things perfect. So whenever I have an idea now, I want to execute. If I have an idea to do a phone call, just do it. Even if in this season of COVID-19, sometimes I think about, there's so many people I should call. Last year, I would just be thinking about all the people I need to call. Right. This year, if I have the thought, I call them. Yeah. If I have an idea about what to do in the business, I do it. I want to execute. I don't want to go to sleep at night with things on my list that I could have done that I didn't do. Yeah. And it's not always perfect, but when I say execution it's the only way that you're going to move. If you have the idea that I should call somebody and talk to them about my business, do it. What are we waiting for? What most people do is they say, I want to call them. And then they sit down and they say, what do I say? And then the next day, let me write out what I'm going to say. And then the next day, I wonder what time they're working. And then a week, 2, 3 weeks have gone by and you haven't executed. When you have a mindset of execute, no matter what, you just do. And we know Nike's, their whole motto, their whole whatever is just do it. Yeah. That's what it means. Just do it. And it's okay if it doesn't come out perfect. I'll give you a good example. I don't like video. I didn't come from this generation of selfies and videos and what have you. And so I would do videos for Instagram, never post them because they're not perfect. Right. I don't care anymore at that level. I'm going to get my message out and I'm just going to execute. So you'll see me doing more videos, more lives and things like that. Not that I've become more. I can't tell you how many people tell me I don't like myself on video. And I keep telling them, well, then you don't like yourself because what you see is your reflection. Yeah. But I lived it. And now I've gone to the point where I just need to execute. We live in a new world. I can't sit back and say, I don't know how to do it. Well, figure it out. And those things have moved me and propelled my business. Tracy, when I tell you we are growing by leaps and bounds, strictly because when we have an idea, we're executing. Down to, using Zoom and how often and how many calls. And you know what? I woke up this morning and I thought, let me do this. Just do it. You don't need permission. If it works, great. If it doesn't, do something else, but just do it. And I think all of us would get so much further if we live with the mantra of this day, I'm going to execute. Now, you can't do everything, so have a little list. Yeah, exactly. Down to, Tracy, you can relate to this. You're a business owner. Down to doing your taxes. Yeah. You know how many people just procrastinate? Yeah. Just do it. Get it off your plate, execute, and move on. And that's not just in business. That's in everything. It's just the way I've transformed my life by just making a decision. I'm going to wake up and execute.
Yeah. With this platform right now, Leaders Chat Live, I sat on this concept in my head for, 6-9 months, whatever. And I was just like, and I made every excuse because, like you, I'm like, I want it to be perfect. That's who I am. I want it to be. I don't like to start stuff. I like to make good things great. And I'm just like, that's just not who I am. And I sat there and I made excuse after excuse after excuse. And finally I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And if it sucks, it sucks. If it's great, it's great. The results will be what it's going to be. And that's. I'm glad I started. I think the platform is. I think people are enjoying it. I think the value. I'm enjoying it, even if no one else is enjoying it. I know that I'm learning from having these conversations, and so it could happen to any and all of us all the time.
To your point, I thought the same thing. I've had so many ideas about what to do on a social platform. I've watched people and I say, I could do that. And I never did it. So I do agree with you. Sometimes you just have to say, go do it. Give you an example. And again, I'm just keeping this real. I love conversation because things come to your mind, you just say it. I thought about doing a podcast. And let me tell you what we do. We get caught up in getting ready to get ready. So you got to get the microphone and you got to get this and you got to get that. And at the end of the day, you still don't do it.
Right.
So I read this one person that I follow was saying, if you can't be consistent with simple things, you're probably not ready. So then I made it my desire to execute something simple every week, every week, every week, every week. Let me tell you, just doing the same thing every week is hard. So I admire you for going out and starting this and the consistency with which you're doing it. I really do. Because I had the exact same thoughts, the exact same ideas. I didn't execute it for, as I said, the reasons being, I don't want to go live. Who's going to see me? What am I going to say? Live is a very dangerous thing in this world.
Yeah.
Sound bites are real. So I applaud you for, getting out there, starting it. And by the way, for everybody watching, this is not fake. Tracy has worked very closely with my business partner, Mr. Artley, and myself on a variety of things. So when I say I call him a friend, that's real. And I admire what he's doing and getting this started and getting leaders to talk. The ability to communicate with people just in a conversation, I think that's an awesome idea. And I think it's going to have real value. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. It's, and this platform would not work without people like yourself. Without the leaders willing to come on and share their expertise and share, because we all have different points of view. And I think that's the one thing that I want to see happen is let's expose people to different points of view, different leadership styles, different techniques, different goals, because, just execute. I think that is such a powerful thing. And the book that popped in my head is Mel Robbins' The 5-Second Rule. I don't know if you've read it.
We read it as a team.
Oh.
We have a book club every Monday. And now, Mel Robbins has her own show.
I know. Yeah. It's just crazy now, isn't she?
Obviously, she's a female. I love watching females empower females. But that is so true. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Look, she's made millions on the concept of execute.
Yeah.
And I love that our entire team read it. By the way, if you're watching this and you were on it and you didn't read it, you should. It's a great book.
It is a great
It's amazing book. We've read the same books, Tracy. I mean, leaders just do that.
It's, what, I recommend books all the time because it's a point of authority. It's a different perspective. It's something that people can go into at their own pace. I think doing team leading or team led book studies or calls or that kind of thing. But I tell you what, that 5-4-second, the 5-second rule, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I have written some very difficult emails to people that I did not want to hit send on, and I get to the end and I'm like, I don't know about this, and I just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
go.
And I'm like, best thing I did all day. That I just walk away. It is an engagement thing, and I think in this industry, I don't care how you want to build. I don't care if you want to build business and money and or if you want to build product centric or if you want to build, whatever your product line is that you love. You just need to take action.
Right.
You just need to start because, people are always like, well, but what if people don't like my product? What if people don't like my, what? Guess what? Some aren't going to like it. Not everyone's going to like what you're doing. And so you have to come to terms with that. And once you do, I think it's really easy to share things out. Right.
And when you view it as a real business, and everybody who's listening, you go in the store, you peruse, you buy, sometimes you don't. You don't always go back to the same store.
Right.
I don't understand why in this industry we expect people to treat us differently. We have this paradigm that everybody that knows me should help me. No, everybody that knows you, that wants what you have, well, they'll get it.
Yeah.
You don't have to have this stress over it.
Yeah.
I watched this, I don't even know her name. In fact, it was on Mel Robbins, this lady who came up with a product line. And she said the hardest thing for people to go through in being successful is the word no. Like it literally just kills people when they hear the word no. Don't worry about it. Just execute. If somebody says no, you execute it, move on, execute to the next thing. I told you, Tracy, my mantra, along with execute, is fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
The process. Like, people who are marketing in the store, they're not worrying about whether you're going to buy everything, but they love dressing up the mannequins and they love dressing up the windows. They just want to attract you. If they buy, great. We're in the same type of business. We're in sales, even though nobody wants to call it that. We're in sales. And people that want what we're selling, they're going to get it. Whether they want to have more time in their life, whether they want to make more money, maybe they are looking for, the exact product we have. It doesn't matter. If they want it, they will buy it. If they don't, anytime you force feed a person, they're going to get sick of you.
Yep.
So don't worry about it. It's okay. Just execute, just move forward, fall in love with the process. And I tell you, this is fun for me. I don't really care. I don't get attached to the result.
Yeah.
I get attached to the process.
Yeah, because when you get attached to the results, man, if those results aren't coming in, it just crushes your entire dream, right? And the process is the growth, the process of which is going to lead to the results. And we used to have this sheet, and this is an industry thing. We certainly didn't make it, but it had 100 no's on it. Mm-hmm. And we would do a training, and we'd say, listen, this is your job, is to go out there and get 100 no's. And people are like, what? Oh, I want to get yeses. I said, I know, but you need to go get 100 no's, because when you get 100 no's, you'll know what it's going to take to get all the yeses. And
we should start that again, because you're absolutely right. If people could just go through the process, learn that no doesn't kill you. Right. It doesn't destroy you. It doesn't mean you did it wrong. Tracy, I can't tell you how many times people do a call and the person didn't respond and they'll go, I wish you had done it. Why? I'm going to say the same thing you said.
Yep.
Why are you beating yourself up over somebody didn't want it? People act as though nobody ever told us no.
Yeah.
The only difference with leadership is we've heard no so much till we have that, that bulletproof vest that no doesn't even come close to us. Okay. And we move on. And when you learn to just accept that, fall in love with the process, it's like, oh man, in fact, if you get a yes, it interrupts the flow of the process. Now you gotta train somebody. Yeah. It's just one of those. Now I have to spend time on the phone with this new person. So if you just keep staying in the process, and there's a young woman in my team, and that was life changing for her. Stop worrying about what people say. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to start to get results. And she did. Yeah. So it's a learning curve. I'm not going to say you get this overnight, but this industry, and I'm saying this to everybody, yes, it has rewarded me handsomely monetarily. Yeah. I have no regrets on that end. But even without all that, the person I've become, the personal growth, learning how to navigate life in general it's just improved. I think people have aspects of life. There's your spiritual life. I think you have to get that right. I think that's so important. There's your family life. You have to get that right. But the good thing about this industry, it forces you to stay engaged in all those aspects of life.
Yes.
You have more time to spend with your family. You are a perfect example. You and your family, as myself, we've traveled the world because of this industry. I'm so proud of your daughter. I follow her, obviously, and she seems like she's doing so well. I used to just pray for her. I know she was going through some things, but I've seen you in Paris with your daughter, and you guys have gone to the industry has given us that. So that's why we love it. And, my passion is to elevate it and give people the right perception. This is a business just like every other business that anybody does. And most people in other businesses, when they learn the power of ours, would come here.
Yeah.
So. And you're right. I never realized that. I'm looking at the clock. I told Tracy I couldn't talk for 45 minutes, and here we are.
I told you it goes fast, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah. Do you need to go, or do you got a few more minutes?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good. So you heard it here first. Valencia does not like to get yeses because it complicates her life. Is that what you said?
You see what's wrong with sound bites?
No. Avery, my daughter, is doing great. She's doing absolutely fantastic. She's living out in Phoenix now. She'll be coming home for the summer here shortly. Can't wait to get her back home, but this COVID thing's messed everything up. But she's doing very well, so I appreciate you following her and checking in on her. She's just one of the loves of my life, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I look back, this industry provides weird things for people. Some people, it's all about the check. Other people, it's all about the product. Some people, for me, a lot of it is about the experience. and the ability for me to share things that I didn't have as a kid. Not that I did not go without as a kid. We were fed, we were clothed, we were loved, the whole bit. But we didn't travel.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't travel. Traveling was camping, which was great in and of itself. But we went to Canada fishing, but we didn't go places and experience the world. And so for me to be able to take my kids places and show them different perspectives of life, how New York City operates, how California, how Europe, and how things are different, I think gives you a perspective that really helps your business of understanding not everybody's after the same thing.
Right.
And I think that's what's so powerful about Leaders Chat Live is you and I may very drastically differ on the spectrum of a topic or a goal, but neither one of us are wrong.
Right.
We just have we're from different places and have different views and have different goals in life. And it just happens to be you and I think we really line up very well as far as how we do business. And maybe that's why we do chat and get along fairly well. Fairly well? Is that a good term for this, whatever this is?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was looking for like a great or phenomenal, but fairly well apparently is all I can get out of V today. But, for the people that are watching today, and people that are going to watch the replay, do you have one or two or three takeaways that they can implement into their business or their life? Doesn't have to be networking, but that they can start to execute. Like a 1, 2, 3, do this, this, this. Do you have something that you can rattle off like that?
Well, one, I'm going to say, based on this is really what I live. It's not just based on our conversation. Read. Even in school, I didn't necessarily want to read a book.
Yeah.
I don't read for entertainment purposes. I'm not going to go get a novel and just read it.
Yeah.
But the personal development books, I truly enjoy reading. So I suggest that everybody do that. I think everybody should visualize. In fact, I do a training on this. Know what you want. Barry Bird was on your show and he talked about your why. Do you know that there are people someone once said this to me, people don't get what they want because they don't know what they want. Yeah. Spend some time with yourself in a room and figure out what you want. What's important to you. Sometimes people say, well, you're good at that because, health and wellness is your passion. People get it all wrong. Yeah. I think my passion is education. I've been really trying to hone in on that. I love impacting lives. Figure out what it is that you want and then execute. Just make a decision. So read a book, have affirmations, visualize it, and then have the discipline to execute. That's what's going to lead you to the success in life that you're looking for.
Okay. Well, so before I let you go, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I do not want explanation to the answers. All I want is answers. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'm scared,
so
go ahead.
First thing that pops in your head. We'll see how this goes. I think people are going to love it. Okay. What is the best place you've ever traveled to?
Tahiti.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? What's your favorite book?
My favorite book is What Makes the Great Great by Dennis Kimbro. I know you don't want explanations. It's one of my favorite books. Okay. What Makes the Great Great.
All right. So, and what's the...
Can I give you my second one?
Absolutely. I'll give some leeway. Yes.
Okay. The Power of the Subconscious Mind shifted my life. It's not an easy read, but it's a great book.
Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, number 3, what's the best way that you spend a lazy Sunday afternoon?
Lazy Sunday afternoon. On a walk or a jog, a nice glass of wine when I get back, and good food.
That's a heck of an afternoon, V.
I watch a good movie too, with my family. I just, like you said, it's a lazy day. So I just do whatever comes. But I do love getting outside and feeling the air, either walking or jogging. Doesn't make a difference to me. I love exercise.
Yeah, it
by the
recharges
way,
you.
Part of my personal development too. Just realizing that taking care of me is important.
Yeah.
I could add a spa, all those things. Everything makes me feel good.
Steak dinner or pizza?
Pizza. I don't like steak.
Really?
Do not like steak at all. Are we still friends? You looked at me like, I can't believe you said that.
So wrong. All right, and finally, would you rather feed pigeons in the park or take selfies with adults in weird costumes in Times Square?
Take selfies with the dolphin. Take selfies with weird costumes in Times Square. You already know I hate pigeons. I detest birds. I'll do anything. I will not feed pigeons. Definitely not. That was an easy one.
All right. So, hey, if you're out there watching us, please, please, please mash the thumbs up and the heart button to really thank Valencia for taking the time. V, I want to get you back on Leaders Chat. We could do this all day long. I want to get you back on in the future. So please, please, please pick up my phone when I call you.
Absolutely.
And I can't thank you enough for taking the time today and sharing your wisdom and your experience and your vision with us and everyone that's out there watching Leadership Live. So thank you very much, and we will talk to you real soon.
Thank you. And thank you for having me, Tracy. Thank you for starting this, and just complete thanks.
You bet. All right. We'll talk to you real soon. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, that ends this episode with Valencia Pamphile. I hope you guys loved it. Two things. Make sure if you type in into the window chat in the comments, you can get added to our messenger bot, which will make sure you're notified the next time that we go live. Also, if you want to follow us here on Facebook, if you're more of an Insta person, you can go over to Leadership Live on Insta. Follow us there because that's where we make the announcements of when we go live and who we go live with. So with that, thank you once again to Valencia Pamphile for sharing with us and joining us today. And we will see you all next time.